Welcome again to my channel. This is Dre from Sense, and today we are going to continue with the reading of the book. Well, this is a little too loud. But here I am without warning, getting ready to continue the reading of the book, The Atonement Child. I want to say welcome to everybody who is here and those who will come in afterwards. I notice that a lot of you come in after the reading is over and listen, and I sincerely appreciate you all. Regardless of the time that you come into my channel and listen to the reading. Now, yesterday we read about how Dynah had gone with her mother to the abortion clinic, and lo and behold, the doctor who is doing the procedures was friends with Dinah's mother, Hannah. They had been friends for a long time, friends from college. And it was such a pleasant surprise for her to see her friend. And even though she tried to make Dinah feel comfortable, knowing that her friend would be performing the procedure and he would take extra care to make sure Dinah was okay, Dinah was still not in a comfortable place to make the decision to abort her child. And so Dinah slipped away from the coffee table. They were having coffee with her mom's friend. She slipped away, took a taxi, and went home. So the story ended with her being home, and her grandmother has arrived at the house from Arizona, and she's having a conversation with her grandmother in the kitchen while her mom is still out at the pub having coffee with the doctor. But the thing is, Dinah does not have a lot of time, guys. Dinah it's now, what is it now? June, I think? May? But Dinah is 4.5 months. She was violated in January. And now she's 4.5 months along. She's in her second trimester. And, oh boy. And as the doctor had explained to her, the longer you wait, the older the pregnancy is, the harder it is to abort and the more complications that could arise. Now that Dinah is even starting to feel the baby kick, she's starting to bond with the baby. And now that she's bonding with the baby, how is she going to make that decision? I think that is the hardest decision to make for any woman to make. After that baby starts kicking, you are thinking of a living being floating around in your abdomen, and to make the conscious decision to remove that being before it reaches the age of viability can be very heart-wrenching for anybody. So here Dinah continues to toy with her decision or indecision. She's not able to make up her mind as to what she wants to do. But her friend Joe, you all remember Joe? Here comes Joe. This is my Joe right here. Joe, what's up? How are you doing, my love? So, so good to see you. Happy Friday to you, Jojo. Happy Friday. Joe, you know, somebody just come home from work. Yeah, I just got home, tired as a goose. I can't find one of my headphones, one of my earpiece. I feel like we'll go back on the street because I only stopped in the mailing place. And I don't know if that's where it fell out of my ear, but I was so cold. I don't know if I hugged myself and it fell out of my ear. I didn't even feel it Because I searched the whole house everywhere I went since I came and I can't find it. But anywho, if it's lost, it's lost. That's all I can say. But anyway, as we continue the reading, we will find out what else is happening with Dynah. But before we go on, Dynah has received mail from Joe. Joe is a friend that she had in college, and he is also best friends with the guy who was her fiance until she broke off the engagement. So Joe and Ethan are friends. Ethan hasn't written to her, but Joe has. And as I was telling you all yesterday, I am wondering if Joe was the rapist. I don't know. And I don't know why that thought came to my mind. But you know how all these novels that I read always have a lot of twists and turns. So I guess I'm just twisting the story before the story twists itself on me. Our Josie say, yes, because I see her give me bun. And a bun me I give her rum cake. Rum cake me I give Jojo with some good JB on top. You know what I mean? How are you doing, Joseph? Good morning to you, my love. Good to see you as always. As always, my dear. So here I am. You have to stay with me this morning and listen to me read. Yeah, I'm going to read for about the next I don't know. I'm gonna read until I stop. Maybe about the next hour. Cause even though I'm there, I still feel like I should take a nap. Cause I gotta go to work in the morning. So I feel like taking a nap, getting up, doing what I gotta do. And so, but we don't know. We will definitely take care of it, no matter what. All right. So yesterday we ended where Dynah is in the kitchen with her grandmother. And they're having some tomato soup, and Dynah is feeling the baby moving, and that sort of thing. So we are going to continue with the reading. Excuse me. Anna saw her mother's car the moment she pulled into the driveway. Torn between relief and frustration, she punched the garage door opener and drove into the carport. She came in through the kitchen and saw her mother rinsing dishes. Where's Dynah? She went upstairs to take a nap. Her mother put the mug into the dishwasher. She looks worn out. And no wonder. Hannah put her purse on the counter and put her arms around her mother, hugging her close. Oh, Mom, she sighed. I'm glad you came. Evie held her daughter close, rubbing her back. She had seen the shadows under her eyes. Oh, yeah, you're listening. You listening to the third voice? Oh, Joseph, what third voice? I cannot with you. But anywho, let's continue reading. Evie held her daughter close, rubbing her back. She had seen the shadows under her eyes the moment Anna came in the door. She always had a bruised look when things weren't going well. It was a good bet Hannah wasn't sleeping. What time does Doug get home? Around 6. Anna let go of her mother slowly. How about a glass of wine? It wouldn't hurt. Anna took 2 glasses from the cupboard and a bottle of chilled Oregon blackberry wine from the back of the refrigerator. She caught her mother's smile. Yes, it's the same bottle you brought down at Christmas. I've been hoarding it. I should have thought to bring a couple more. Do you want to turn me into a lush? I doubt there's much chance of that. They went into the family room. Anna set her glass down and turned on the gas fireplace. There was nothing like flickering firelight to give one the feeling of home. And right now, she was desperate for any kind of comfort. Have you unpacked yet? Not yet. I left my things in the car. I'll bring them in later. She watched Hannah rub her forehead. What's happened since we talked? Nothing. Dynah hasn't made a decision yet. I took her to the clinic this afternoon. What sort of clinic? You know what sort of clinic, Mother. Did she have to spell it out? I hope you are not pushing her into having an abortion. I'm not pushing, Mother. Doug is pushing. It's not his decision to make. Tell him that. Dynah is his daughter. She lives in his house. He pays the bills. He's the one who will have to keep working if she has this child. And why should she, Mother? She was raped. What sort of human being could she be carrying? You know what abortion is, right? Don't say it, Mother. You've been through it yourself. I don't want to talk about it. Have had an awful day, and it's going to be a worst evening. All I want is to have this glass of wine and a nice, comfortable visit. Can we do that, please? Evie sighed heavily and said nothing more. Time enough when Doug got home. She intended to say what she had to say. She hoped to God they'd listen. And Joseph said, boy, I'm not sweet. You're telling the story like it happened right now. Then I saw story if you tell. I saw story if you tell, Joe. Story if you tell like it happened right now. And capture the audience. And make them want to listen. And listen some more. Yes. I saw story if you tell. Story enough to tell. Yeah. If it's tell with expression. Yeah. Oh my gosh, enjoying it easy. I'm going to continue with my sweet mouth. Dynah awakened once when her mother came in to ask if she'd like to come down to dinner. Tired and depressed, she declined. I'll eat later, Mom. Okay, honey, Hannah had said, readjusting the covers and leaning down to kiss her daughter. When Anna came upstairs, her mother was putting serving dishes on the dining table, while Doug sat in the family room watching the news. He had changed into his worn Levi's, polo shirt and sneakers. Even in his relaxed pose, she sensed he was coiled and ready to strike at the first provocation. They had exchanged only a few words upon his arrival home. Did you take care of it? He had said. I tried. Did you invite your mother? Sort of. He gave her a narrow-eyed look that said he didn't believe her. A muscle jerked in his jaw, and he rose, stepped past her, and went upstairs with his briefcase. From the look of him now, she figured he hadn't removed his armor. Choruses of bitter voices jabbered in her head, dredging up the hurts from the past. Every hurtful word he had ever spoken was played again and again in fast forward. Self-pity filled her, bringing along with it a boiling anger that steamed over and steamed away the love, patience, and gentleness she desired. Self-restraint hung by a thread. They sat down at the dinner table together and ate the spicy meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and carrots Hannah had fixed. Doug liked things hot. She watched him douse his meatloaf with Tabasco sauce and felt her temperature rising. He hadn't even bothered to taste the meal before he doctored it up. Evie was saddened by what she saw happening between her daughter and her husband. She remembered their being like this in the early years of their marriage, stony silences, tension. She used to wonder if it was her and Frank who weren't welcomed. It wasn't until later, when Anna told her the whole story about Jerry, that she began to understand what was staring at her daughter's marriage. You see why I say you can't tell your spouse everything about your past. Your past is your past. Your past is your business. You don't need to tell your current spouse about your past. You can tell a little generic stuff. But to tell them that you had an abortion and all that, that's not their business. They do not need to know that. Some things is better you keep in your gut and take it with you to your grave. Yeah, it's better. Because you see in Hannah's case, she thought, oh, I love Doug. I'm just going to bare my soul to Doug so Doug will trust me and know that I'm not hiding anything from him. And by her doing that, she gave him ammunition that he can use on her every time they have an argument. I think Doug is rotten for doing that. Very rotten. Well, she had her own secrets. Maybe unveiling them would help these two come to terms with their past and their future. Or was she just going to be opening Pandora's box? Doug finished quickly and excused himself. Anna fumed as she heard the television go on again. A boxing match this time. A suitable violent sport. Too bad hockey wasn't on tonight, or he could put out one of those god-awful war movies he loved to watch so much. He said they were cathartic. What was so cathartic about seeing blood and mayhem? She stacked the dishes noisily and carried them into the kitchen. I can handle it, Mom. You go sit down and relax. Evie itched to do something, anything. So she picked up a sponge and went back in to wipe the table, rearrange the flowers in the center, and push all the chairs into their places. They all sat in the family room together, separate islands with their own hurricanes. Doug stared at the television. Anna sat fidgeting. Evie dug into her travel sewing basket and pulled out a pillowcase she was embroidering. A Christmas present for someone. No one talked about what was on their minds. The issue could have been a pink elephant in the middle of the room, trumpeting and leaving scath about, and they would pretend they didn't notice. They'd tiptoe around it and try not to arouse it. We need to talk, Anna said finally. Doug stared at her. We talked already, he said. We haven't talked at all. He glanced pointedly at Evie. Mom knows something, or does she know everything? I should have guessed. No insult to you, Evie, but this is our business. Evie anchored the needle and lowered the project to her lap. Hannah grimaced, feeling the tension mounting in the room. Pompeii must have felt like this just before Vesuvius erupted. No matter what she said, Doug was going to blow. Better she take the blast than her mother. We have to talk about it. His gaze turned on her. What more is there to say? She let out her breath. It was just like him to dump the whole thing on her lap. Fix it, Hannah. Don't bother me with it. I spoke with the doctor today. She didn't dare tell him she knew Jim Wyatt from college days. Doug would make all kinds of assumptions. He'd probably think she had slept with him too. He said he can admit Dynah to General and do the procedure there. She'd stay overnight for observation. When? When is that? Tomorrow afternoon. So it's settled then, isn't it? What do you want from me now? She began to shake. She wanted to scream at him and pound on him. Instead, she clung to her self-control. Dinah has to say yes. I can't drag her there. He looked at her then, his eyes fiery. I didn't say drag her, did I? Did I ever say that? No. I told you to help her through this, meaning it's up to me to convince her. You know more about it than I do. Oh God, here we go again. Doug turned his head away, staring at the television. Anna sat silent, wallowing in her pain, filling her cup with resentment. Sometimes she almost hated him. Let me tell you all something, people. If I ever have a man, and every time me and him have something, and if I tell him a deep, dark secret of mine, and every time we have a conversation or we have a disagreement, he brings it up and throws it in my face, we would never be married for 29 years. I don't care which church we go to. I don't care what the pastor of the church, what the God of the church say about divorce or what. I will be gone. I would have been so gone. He would have been left licking his wounds between his legs. I would not be there. 29 years, Hannah has put up with this nonsense. 29 years. Every time she has an argument with Doug, he brings up the fact that she had an abortion. He brings up the fact that she wasn't a virgin when he married her. He brings up the fact that she had been with a man who had, as he claimed, used her and didn't even care about her enough to marry her. What kind of stuff is that to say to your partner? What kind of stuff is that? That's not love. Love doesn't hurt. And every time he does it, he understands the pain that he's causing to his wife, but he continues to do it. Like, what kind of comfort does he get from bringing up his wife's hurried past and throwing it in her face? That is so cruel. Joseph said, some people comfortable telling their partner about their past because they have to confuse. Listen, listen. Them need to stop it. Them need to stop it. And if you tell your partner, some things are your business, are your secret. You keep it with you. Don't tell it to no partner, because your partner may not always be your partner. From the first time he bring it up, trust me, Joseph. From the first time he bring it up, come through my abortion in my face, you crazy. From the first time he brings it up, Joseph, I would have been out the door. And 29 years, she keep putting up with it. He keep bringing it up and throwing it in the woman's face. He's rude, man. Hannah grimaced, feeling the tension mounting in the room. Pompeii must have felt like this just before Vesuvius erupted. No matter what she said, Doug was going to blow. Better she take the blast than her mother. We have to talk about it. His gaze turned on her. What more is there to say? She let out her breath. It was just like him to dump the whole thing on her lap. Fix it, Hannah. Don't bother me with it. I spoke with a doctor today. She didn't dare tell him she knew Jim Wyatt from college. Doug would make all kinds of assumptions. He'd probably think she'd slept with him too. He said he could admit Dynah to General and do the procedure there. She'd stay overnight for observations. When? Tomorrow afternoon. So it's settled then, huh? What do you want from me? She began to shake. She wanted to scream at him and pound on him. Instead, she clung to her self-control. Dynah has to say yes. I can't drag her there. He looked at her. He looked at her then, eyes fiery. I didn't say drag her, did I? Did I ever say that? No, I told you to help her through this, meaning it's up to me to convince her. You know more about it than I do. Oh, God. Here we go again. Doug turned his head away, staring at the television. Anna sat silent, wallowing in her pain, filling her cup with resentment. Sometimes she almost hated him. Evie looked between them and wanted to weep. She wondered if she was somehow to blame, planting that tiny seed all those years ago, never guessing the consequences in generations to come. She had thought Anna was too young to know anything, but maybe she had absorbed it somehow, taken it into herself, and kept the sorrow growing. She dumped her handwork haplessly in her travel basket. The book is so old, the pages can hardly spin. I'm sorry, guys. She dumped the handwork haplessly in her travel basket, quietly got up, walked across the room, and turned the television off. Mother, what are you doing? Doug said furiously. She didn't mind being the target. Better they were united against her than fighting one another. Don't let Dinah have an abortion, she said simply, ready to do battle. Mother, Anna said, so sure she would launch into a diatribe about the unborn. Evie saw Doug's eyes narrow and the muscle in his jaws jump. Please hear me out, she said, and returned to her seat. She strove to stay calm, though she wanted to burst out loud and say she was older and wiser and knew more than both of them put together. Dinah's situation has nothing to do with how you or anyone else thinks, Doug said pointedly, eyes fierce. You know how I feel about the issue, Doug, but you don't know why. It doesn't matter. She's my granddaughter and I love her. Well, she's my daughter. And you think I don't love her? I know you love her. You love her more than your own life. All I ask is that you hear me out. She sat forward, her hands clasped tightly on her lap, and bowed her head. This was going to be harder than she expected. I've carried this around in my heart for years, and now it seems I have to tell you whether I want to or not. Doug looked from her to Anna and clenched his teeth. He was struggling to maintain control. That much was clear. He let out his breath, as though loosening his muscles through an act of will. Good. At least he was trying. Evie knew her son-in-law admired her spunk, but she also knew that didn't mean her opinion mattered or whether Dinah should have an abortion or not. She was fairly sure Doug thought he knew what she was going to say. He was well aware she belonged to a fundamentalist church. Her Bible was sitting beside the swivel rocking chair right now, looking frayed and ragged round the edges. Half a dozen ribbons sticking out of it, which he probably figured marked all the suitable passages for the upcoming sermon he expected. But the last thing she was going to do was preach. After the first few years, Doug and her daughter had been married. She had learned to stay out of their affairs. It had been harder for Frank, a retired executive who was used to running the show. Evie was aware that distance and poor health had saved Doug from having to tell his father-in-law to back off. She was sure it hadn't been easy for Doug and that it probably hurt knowing it had taken 15 years to convince Frank he was sticking with Anna through the long hall. Another residue from the past. Frank had seen his daughter hurt before and hadn't wanted to see it happen again. Noting Doug's closed expression, she wondered if he would hear a word she said. Whatever the case, she had to take the risk. Before Frank and I were married, I had tuberculosis. We knew that, Mom. And I relapsed after you were born. Evie went on, seeing she was going to have to plow ahead and override Hannah's desire to avoid the uncomfortable and Doug's antipathy to the truth. The doctor wanted me to go into a sanatorium, but Frank insisted I remain at home. He wanted me close, and I wanted that more than anything, too. You were 3, Hannah. Your brother was 6, and I didn't want to be away from you for months on end. Your father had a hospital bed brought in. He didn't let you come into the bedroom. Granny would hold you in her arms. Oh my, these old book pages are so hard to spin. In the meantime, I'm looking at the chat. Sister M&G! Sister M&G is in the place. Oh, there, Sister Andrea. How are you doing, my love? Andrea used to me come. I may try to bust a little reading, before me go take a nap. May I try, Sister Andrea? Granny would hold you in her arms at the door, and you'd say good morning and good night to me. Sometimes we let you sit in a chair in the doorway so we could talk. You broke my heart, Anna. You'd ask me over and over why you couldn't come in and cuddle with me the way you were used to. You didn't understand what TB or infection meant. She looked at her grown daughter, knowing she had felt rejected despite the reassurances. It was so hard not to hold you and kiss you. Her throat closed, remembering how much it had hurt to turn her children away. Even knowing her own mother was there to scoop them up and nurture them hadn't eased the pain of those months of separation. And what damage had it done in the following years? She knew she was digressing. She could see by Hannah and Doug's expressions that they had no idea where she was going with all this. She had to gather her wits and courage. Oh, Lord, help me. She thought she knew how she would say it. Hadn't she planned every word on the long drive south from Oregon? Now that the time had come, she couldn't remember a single word of the speech she had prepared. She took a deep breath and let it out slowly. I became pregnant. Daddy told me, Hannah said, wanting to spare her mother, afraid of where all this was going and what Doug's response would be. Evie struggled past the tears that threatened. Odd how time never healed some wounds. Yes, I remember. On the night of your first miscarriage, your dad told you we had lost one too. He told you that because he wanted you both to know we understood and grieved with you. But the thing is, Evie said, looking from Anna to Doug, I didn't miscarry. I had a therapeutic abortion. Doug stared at her, clearly stunned. The look on her daughter's face was indecipherable. Evie rushed to fill the shocked silence, wanting to get it all said and done. You see, the doctor told your father I wouldn't survive another child. Frank believed him. I told him I was well enough to carry the baby to term, but I couldn't convince him. He was afraid my health would decline and he'd end up a widower rearing 3 small children by himself. He said he didn't want to risk losing me. God forgive me. I went along with his decision. I allowed the doctor to admit me to the hospital, co-signed the papers with your father, and went through with it. She looked at Hannah through her tears. I was 5 months along. The baby was a boy. Your brother would be 46 years had he lived. Doug stared at her, then shook his head. You did what you had to do, Evie. Frank was right. No, he wasn't, Doug. And worse, he knew it, though he never said so aloud. It might have helped both of us to talk about it. All the years we were together, we never spoke of it. I was angry and hurt for several years afterwards, and he just wanted to forget. For a while, I didn't know if he'd stay married. You'll remember that time, Hannah. You were about 6 when things leveled off. Granny moved home, and we sold that house and started building another. Gradually, we buried thoughts of what we had done and went on with our lives. Evie watched Doug glance at Anna to see how she was taking this new information. She was pale, her eyes glistening with tears. Some things can't be buried, no matter how hard or how long you try. She looked at Doug. Frank spoke of it before he died. He had never got over it any more than I did. She broke off, fighting the tears that threatened to overcome her. Anna couldn't utter a word, her throat hot and tight. It was a moment before Evie could continue to speak. You prayed for Hannah to be born, and God gave her to you. You have both raised her up before the Lord. You know her tender heart as well as I do. Do you honestly think she could have an abortion and not suffer for it for the rest of her life? Doug clenched his hands. She's strong. She'll be broken. She's already been broken. She'd be broken even more if she goes on with it. She doesn't even know what the man looked like, for God's sake. And you think to undo one act of violence upon her with another? He didn't speak for a moment. Again, clearly striving to control his temper. It won't be that way. We'll make sure it'll be legal and safe. Anna flinched inwardly, feeling the darts. Evie felt the anger coming up inside her and smoothed the flame with cold reason. My abortion was legal. It was safe. It was performed in a hospital by a medical doctor with several nurses in attendance. And I will tell you this, Douglas, it was an act of violation and violence upon me, such as I will never forget. And I'm a lot harder and stronger than Dinah. You think giving birth to a rapist child isn't going to cause worse trauma? Childbirth is natural. Natural? The child she's carrying is anything but natural. So your answer is to sacrifice the child for what the father did. Doug's blazing eyes met hers. I don't give a rat's cat about the child, and I'm not getting into a philosophical or theological discussion with you. It's decided she's going to have an abortion, and that's the way it's going to be. We are not going to let our daughter ruin her life by having some crap baby. And that's that. And that's where it's at. AG! Oh my God. Oh my God. I cannot even cough in peace. Here. But I shut the jail wide up. Jay said, Dynah, I forgot drink Rusty Nail and Pepsi. All the Jamaicans here, you all remember? I got drink Periwinkle. We got drink Periwinkle for 7 days. Oh my gosh. Guys, I remember when I was younger in Jamaica holiday, people say, oh, then do a bash and then drink rusty nail in a Pepsi. Think of one whole rusty nail. If you go put in a water and go drink it. I would have rather carry the child. Go drink no rusty nail. No, sir. Not at all. But Dinah needs something for you. Trust me, JY, I'm going to send her to you. She needs something for you. Evie looked at her daughter, appealing for an ally. Dog, Hannah said. He glared at her, and Evie saw he felt betrayed. I said no. You took her to the clinic today. Why didn't you get it done then, instead of dragging this thing out longer? Because she couldn't decide if that's what she really wanted or not. You should have helped her. You should have made it easy for her. You have been through it. And she's still not over it, Evie said, furious that about all these years he dared throw that in Anna's face again. Don't you get it yet? What does it take to make you understand? Will he never be man enough to forgive her? Anna had been a good wife, faithful and loving. How long did she have to do penance for a sin committed before she knew Douglas? Doug turned his growing fury towards her. Stay out of this, Mom. Just stay out of this. It's none of your business. I'm making it my business. Dinah is my granddaughter, and I have a mind to go upstairs right now, pack her things, and get her out of this house. He half rose from his chair. You can pack, and you can get out, but you are not taking my daughter with you. Oh, stop it. Pale and rigid, Hannah made fists against her temples. Just stop it, both of you. Hunching forward, she wept. Dinah sat on the stairs, her head pressed against her knees, listening to the people she loved the most in the world, tearing one another apart. Over her. She hadn't known about her mother. Now that she did, she felt doubtfully forgiven. How could her mother take her hand and encourage her to have an abortion when she had suffered so? They were quieter now, having already ripped open their most vulnerable spots. Dinah could hear their voices, still tensed in anger, though more restrained, probably worried they would awaken her. Oh God, I never wanted this to happen. She could hear her father dictating what she should do, her grandmother arguing with him, her mother, usually the peacemaker, lashing out at both of them in her own pain. Dinah raised her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. She couldn't stay there. She couldn't stay here. If she did, she would come between all of them. Anything she did would hurt someone. If she aborted the child, her grandmother would be hurt. If she didn't, her father would cast her out. In either case, her mother would suffer, caught between the two, confused and full of anguish. God, what do I do? Do I buy another bottle of pills? Do I jump off the Golden Gate Bridge? She thought of Joe. I wouldn't get over it. Not ever. She could see his face, intent and sincere. Her parents wouldn't get over it either, or her grandmother. No matter how miserable she was, she couldn't take the easy way out. She loved them too much. All right. Joe, I said, I am if you read film. Yes, I am a hiring me I deal with now. Anything I hiring. Boy, Me broke like what? I'm gonna take a iron right now. So what else is there, Lord? What do I do? A whisper came, a scripture she had learned long ago drifting into her mind. Come out from them and be separate, says the Lord. JY, JY, I don't know what I'm going to do with you, you know. I love you so much, I don't know what to do with you. As the angry voices drowned below her, she knew she had to leave, even if she didn't know where to go and how to get there. Come out from them and be separate. She had to get out of there. True to his words, Joe Guillermo was on the doorsteps early in the afternoon of June 15. It was Saturday. His heart thumped crazily as he rang the doorbell. He heard someone approaching and took a deep breath, hoping it would be Dynah. It wasn't. When the door opened, he faced Dinah's mother. It was easy to tell they looked so much alike. Hello, Mrs. Carey. I'm Joe Guillermo, a friend of Dinah's. She's expecting me. Hannah was surprised by his appearance. She remembered Dinah speaking of him. He's nothing like Ethan, Mom. He's just a nice guy. Anna had to agree Joe Guillermo wasn't anything like Ethan. He was taller, broader, darker, rougher. He didn't wear slacks, a button-down shirt, coordinated tie and sports jacket, or have a neat haircut. He was wearing faded Levi's, a white t-shirt, and a black leather jacket. His hair was curling over his collar. She wondered vaguely how he had gotten away with that at NLC. He smiled slightly, as though he knew what she was thinking, and she blushed. I'm sorry. So this was the young man who sent the letter last week, wasn't it? The envelopes were stacked on Dinah's bedside table, unopened. Won't you come in, Joe? What Angie said, you want me to read to you? Let me read the bedtime story them. JY say first your AG. JY first yo. But me can't share, you know. Me can't share. There's a lot of me to go around. I mean, I like how that sound. I don't like how that sound at all. How is she? He said, stepping into the foyer and glancing up the stairs, hoping to see Dynah. She's not here. Oh, he said, not bothering to cover his disappointment. Do you expect her back soon? Maybe she was avoiding him. Ideas of why she might want to do that flooded his mind. Had she had an abortion? I don't know. He looked at her, frowning slightly and waiting. Oh, AJ say, I can go second as long as she don't read all of your book. AJ, me only gonna read. Me only gonna read the cover of JY. You hear me? Me only gonna read the cover. Me can't read the whole of JY book at all. Oh, no, so bad. I don't know what to do with y'all. She left 3 weeks ago, Joe, in the middle of the night. We don't know where she is. She glanced away from his intense scrutiny. Why don't you come into the family room? Doug is here. I'm sure he will want to meet you too. Joe followed Dinah's mother into the family room and saw a man he recognized as Dinah's father, sitting in an easy chair, staring at the television. A baseball game was blaring. Someone had just hit a grand slam, but the man registered no interest. Doug, this is Joe Guillermo, a friend of Dinah's. Doug looked up at the young man, as surprised by his appearance as Dinah had been. He reminded Doug of the guy on the television show about immortals and swordplay, tough, ready for anything. He rose and extended his hand. Joe Guillermo's handshake was hard and firm. His eyes were direct. Doug nodded. Doug nodded once. Nice to meet you, Joe. Have a seat, please. I'll get you some coffee. Anna said and headed for the kitchen. Oh, I'll get you some coffee, Hannah said and headed for the kitchen. Doug sat into his easy chair again, at a loss for words. He glanced at the television. I take it you are not an A's fan, Joe said with a half smile, the TV announcer talking over the replay of the slam game. I have season tickets, Doug said flatly. He picked up the remote control and punched a button. The room fell into silence. Doug looked at the young man sitting on the couch and studied him again. Joe Guillermo had an air of confidence about him. He didn't sit uneasy, but was relaxed, open, clearly concerned. Dinah mentioned you, Doug said. He couldn't remember the context. I roomed with Ethan. Oh, that's right. You are the ex-gang member from Los Angeles, aren't you? Joe laughed, an easy sound at once admitting guilt and showing redemption. Yes, sir. What brings you to San Francisco? Dinah, Joe said flatly. Dinah. Okay, so Dinah, Joe has come all the way to California to see Dinah. I think because Dinah knows he's coming, I think she went to go freshen up herself, to go maybe put on some baggy clothes to hide the pregnancy or something. He already knows that she's pregnant. Yeah, but maybe that's what. I don't understand how they say she left the house, that Dinah left the house 3 weeks ago and nobody knows where she's at. I don't know. But whatever it is, guys, we are going to continue with the reading of this book tomorrow sometime. Sometime tomorrow, we will read another few chapters of this book. This book is very, very interesting, and I hope you all are enjoying the reading as much as I am enjoying it. All right. Once again, I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the live. You all cracked me up. Joe said, Trev, that not gonna work around here. You have too much money. Joe said, you have to pick one, no sharing. JY said she not coming back. Boy, I tell you, Joe. You know, say, me can't make them a man pass me, so me have to go wheel and come again. Oh, me not read your book, AG. Page them wet up. Your page them wet up and stick together. Leave me. Yeah. AG, me not read paperback. Oh my gosh, AG. Oh man, I need to stop messing with my friend like that. Oh, but AG. Only read hardcover. I'm gonna read paperback. But anyway, oh my word. Anyway, guys, for the serious people, who are here, you don't mind me, AG and Joe and JY, no, guys, they are Gilafi pea soup. I'm sorry, guys. I was supposed to be reading the book, like, professionally. But I can't do nothing around here with a straight face. With AG and JY and Joe, the straight face goes right out the door. And I live for a good laugh. But anywho, anywho, as we've been reading this book here, we see the dilemma. Joseph, you know the thing said, right? I mean, do it. I mean, wait up in page them. I don't mean, it's not me. I'm not going to take that. I'm not guilty. Not at all. Not at all. But anywho, anywho, I want to say thanks to everybody who came. I which comment me miss. JY say me miss one comment. Me backside. JY, me not talk to you. JY, me not talking to you. I'm not even going to repeat. I'm not even going to repeat them stuff here. I want when people are listening to the live, them listen to the clean live, and them not going to read the comments to see what I'm not saying in the comments. So, JY, you want nothing but too good lick. Wait, that not sound too right either. But how would they go on here? So that not sound too right either. I can't find a good word to say, cause that not sound too good either, JY. So because I can't find a good word to say, my granny say if you're not gonna say nothing good, don't say nothing at all. So so since that not sound too right, tell about you want two good licks. That not right at all. Can't do that. Can't say that. That's not appropriate for this moment. Don't make me a like cough. And I can't bother with you, because decent people up on the live. And I must put up with AG and JY and Joe. I too big stone for your AG. Really, too big stone. That not even sound right either. My lord. So guys, JY I gonna bring some Pepsi. JY I gonna bring the Pepsi, and AG I gonna bring the two rusty nail. JY I gonna bring the two rusty nail and no, AG I gonna bring the two rusty nail and JY I gonna bring the two bottle of Pepsi. Alright? And 1, 2, 3, that Dynah will be just fine after that. And Joseph Joseph is going to bring one pot of periwinkle tea for Dynah. Periwinkle tea, some thyme tea, and then something with that country me used to hear. So people use for do a bash, and they use rusty nail and Pepsi and what the other thing? Periwinkle and thyme. Just get one whole bungle of thyme. Get one whole bungle, not just two little sprig, like one whole bungle of thyme. And boil it. and boil it and drink the time tea. Drink the time tea 4 times a day for 3 days. And before you know it, bingo. Yeah. Joseph say I don't busy with you not to at all, no go and fight. Oh gosh, Joseph, man, you have to defend me. You have to defend me and you have to help me. Because I need it. What you want? Hey, be careful what you ask for, you know. Be careful what you ask for. You Tanya Stevens say, you're gonna run the right. See then you're gonna run the right. Oh my word, guys. And so I know some need to go sleep, you know. I say, I need to go sleep. I say, no, so I can't go sleep. I'm going to read the Bible because I go over Jeremiah like a bit more. But I have to go do the reading because my people them out there somewhere. Yeah. So it's a good thing. So I come on and see there. I find my people them just like that. See that JY AG said we don't fight, we share. I agree. We're supposed to share, we're not supposed to fight. But it all depends on where you are share. AG. Okay? But anyway, guys, it was a pleasure being here. Pleasure having you all here. Me I them already a dance. Meaning me I them already closing down. Cause me tired for you. So I got all a little nap for about an hour or two. And then when I wake up, I'm going to spend some time with you, because I'm going to be downstairs in the kitchen. All right? And that's going to be it from me for right now, my friends. Share me. Share me, Angie. Yes, there's a lot of me to go around. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And there's a lot of me to go around. Bless upon yourself, JY. JY, we will talk. AG, we will talk. Joe, and everybody else who came into the chat, thank you all so much for the laughs. Thank you all so much for coming in. If you didn't hit the like button on your way in, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. JY, your ear say R. Kelly a sue Tasha K. Somebody send me one something this morning. But me not go research yet, so I don't even know if it's true. And ChatGPT couldn't tell me anything, so I don't know if it's true, but when I go and go search it up for me, and anything on the find, no text to come tell me. Me hear say R. Kelly has sue Tasha K. Tasha K not tired of get sue. But anyway, me not talk about it right yesterday. I'm going to do one different vlog talk about that. Yeah, right, Andrea? And just says a dangerous concoction. Yes, everything a dangerous concoction. But me say people them drink the time tea. One big pot of time and then just keep on drink it for days and days and days. Until it do the work. Yeah. But anyway. That's where we're going to end the reading for today. That's where we're going to end the live for today. Once again, I want to say thanks to you all for coming in. I sincerely appreciate you all. Until next time, my friends, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. I hope you all have yourselves a great afternoon, and I will see you all when I wake up. All right, guys, have yourselves a great afternoon.